Good evening, November Foxtrot. Welcome to the show. We've immediately lost Lance.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
How is everybody doing?
Okay.
Marvelous.
It's been a little while since we've all been on together.
I think it has. It's been a while.
Miss all your faces, mate.
I miss your face.
See, Lance.
Miss your face.
Lance knows the score. Sofa. Luxurious.
Scatter cushions.
I'll get
snuggle.
there.
I've got scatter. Got a scatter cushion.
Got some new soft furnishings this evening.
Is it a scatter cushion if it's just one cushion? Is that not just a lazily placed cushion at that point?
No, I have two matching jungle-themed scatter cushions. Thank you very much.
Because I can scatter it. I can just go scatter.
Yeah, here we go. Here's me scattering.
Yeah.
There it is. Scattered there.
Behind my head.
And he has scattered his cushion behind his head.
It's a bit far.
Norman Price!
Something's fell over.
This is why the three of us don't get together often.
Yes, it's very,
Welcome to the
very
show.
silly.
We are talking about scatter cushions.
Can Andy please do the entire show in Spanish? Absolutely yes.
I would do if I knew how to speak a single word of Spanish.
Hang on, I'm working on it.
Can you change my voice to Spanish?
Please tell me you can change
not
your
yours.
voice.
Hola, este es el Foxtrot de November.
Ah!
That was
I was trying to think of something Spanish then, but it's probably
hugely
not.
butchered.
Buenas noches. Is that Spanish? What is that?
I mean, it sounded Spanish from the perspective of someone in Spain who is English.
Yeah, in my mind, it's Spanish.
yeah, I was going to say that did not sound Spanish.
Good.
Welcome to the show. You join us for another lovely episode. The sun is shining.
The weather
It's
is
very
sweet.
exciting. It's gravy outside at the moment. It's lovely.
I was hoping Andy would
joined-
continue the song, but no, certainly not.
Huh? What?
It doesn't matter. And Mike said the sun is shining, and I said the weather is sweet, and then I was hoping you'd say it makes you want to move your dancing feet, but you didn't. You just went, huh?
No.
Welcome to the show. That's pretty much a microcosm of the entire series. But yeah, we've actually got a bit of news this week. Should we roll the old news thing?
I can't really change my background, but please do.
We're going to see how quickly you can do it, lads.
Okay.
Kick my gun, I go pew 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 pew.
News.
Cushion fell down. There, news.
You need one that you can pull down now.
Jungle news. Oh yeah, that's it. With just like you get at the pier with just my head through it, like a newsreader.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, news.
Not really the top news story, but it is news. It turns out, as of the 22nd of June, so this is important for anybody that watches us on Facebook.
Yes,
as of the 22nd of June,
bastards.
Basically, Facebook has decided to change its storage capacity for live videos. Now, at the moment, the way that the podcast is shared is YouTube and Facebook. It automatically goes there with Stream Live, and then it's saved there. You've got all the comments and everything in there. It's nice. You can watch it through, and it does that on both YouTube and Facebook.
Yes.
Now, YouTube is fine, but Facebook are changing their storage to basically delete anything that's a Facebook Live it's been there for more than 30 days. So we are going to be having a bit of an internal debate at some point between the three of us, hopefully before the 22nd of June, to work out whether we are going to continue to stream on Facebook, because we are going to lose all the commentary that goes along with the episode otherwise. I.e., we then just put it on YouTube and then we download the episode and put it onto Facebook afterwards. But we need to have a little play around with that. But please bear in mind that the 22nd of June, if you watch this show on Facebook, it may all change. Or it might not. Maybe we just have it going on there for 30 days and then you can't watch the back catalogue. You have to watch it on YouTube or listen back. It's up.
That sounds easy.
We're not really sure.
Job done.
Yeah.
bloody Facebook. Well done.
It is a pain. It is a massive pain, but it is what it is, I guess. So.
Yes.
Lance, you went to a site.
I did.
You went out.
Shooty bang bangs on Sunday.
We are sorry to interrupt, but we can now go live to our man in the field. Can you tell us what is going on at the place you are in about the situation that is going on at the time that you went? and why you are there.
Why did it go creepy at the end?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Mike found a new button.
Mike's got a new button. Big news. Mike's got a
I thought
creepy
it would be good.
newswoman.
Yeah, I thought it would be good. It went on a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. I apologise. I had to do it quick before the show. I thought it'd be nice for us to, when we go to events, because obviously sometimes we go to events without each other, I thought it might be nice to have a little kind of segue to lead us into that.
Yes.
And I firstly had to make it generic because I ran out of characters that I could use under the free plan. So yeah, we'll go with that. But basically, Lance, tell us about the event that you went to.
All of that for that.
Yeah, right. So on Sunday, I popped along with two of our fellow 56th Praetorians team members, Danny and Wayne, to a new CQB training site, Kill House, which is located over near Crowborough. It's not open as of yet. It's very close to being open, but we were basically invited along by Kilo 42 Airsoft team, who have their main guy Jez reached out to me on Instagram. Lovely guy, lovely bunch of guys, really good team. Also saw some of the Metal Ops guys down there at the weekend, which I hadn't seen for a couple of years, Dragar and the like. So really good to catch up with them. Also a couple of guys from Crawley Surplus were also along for the ride as well, which was cool to catch up. So yeah, they've built a kill house set up on a bit of beautiful woodland over in Crowborough, near Crowborough, which is in Sussex. And it's basically going to be open for teams to hire for half day or full days. I've just got some details on my phone, which I'm just going to grab up. They've been working tirelessly since 2024 to get this done at arse end of 2024 into now. So there is more to come. It's not quite finished yet. It needs a bit of polishing. There's a couple of bits that they want to change. But for their first attempt at ever building something like this, it's bloody good. I did put a video up on our community page on Facebook. So if you haven't seen it, please have a look. Because it's really promising what they've done there. It's really cracking.
Really good.
So quickly, it's a CQB kill house. There's multiple rooms, multiple entries. What they've done is they've placed sort of like a couple of doors on each room. Some rooms have got 3 doors. So what you can do is you can create your own sort of routes through the kill house. So you can literally seal a door off, that becomes a wall, and then the door, and they're actual proper internal doors. So they've got their hinge doors. None of this sort of just pallets stacked up with a doorway shape. Actual doors that you've got to go through or breach at some point or whatever it might be. It's going to be some covered sections, so you're going to be transitioning from daylight to have to use white light from your rifle to clear rooms and sections and stuff like that. There's some low level sort of like murder holes that you'd have to crawl through. There's going to be a gantry at some point. There's going to be camping available at some point. So if teams want to go down there and hire it for the whole day, I'll get to the pricing of that now. So cost wise, 150 quid for 3 hours. For about 10 to 12 people, so that's about £15 a person. You've got exclusive use of this location with the option for camping and that as well. Or 400 quid for the whole day. Now that's 40 quid per person for a 10, 12 man team. If you've got a few more than that, it's fine. Internally, inside the kill house, I'd say you've got space for a good 10 to 12 people to be able to carry out training, room clearance, drills, this, that and the other. And there is some area outside of the kill house where you could do some dry drills, some transitioning, some movements and things like that. So you could take it in turn and split your team up depending on how big it is. But then the option is, obviously, they've got camping there. There's toilet facilities there on site. I believe there's running water and that. And they do some breakfasty type things that you could probably get at some point further down the line. But it was just basically a huge shout out to Kilo 42 for the work they've done. Thank you for the invitation to come down and see the site. I'll be getting some more pictures off of Jez to put up on our socials as well to show it off. And it's absolute sterling effort. We had a right blast. Really good to catch up with Danny and Wayne again. We did literally laugh all the way there and all the way back. I must apologise to Wayne. I did nearly make him crash on the way. So we never nearly made it because I sneezed. I was sitting in the back. Danny was in the front. I was sat in the back. And this sneeze came out of nowhere. And you know, my sneezes aren't the quietest in the world. And I didn't even get a chance to go. Oh my god, I've got to sneeze. You know when someone goes like, this just went, and like
your sneezes.
Wayne, I'm in the back seat like this. Wayne's sort of in the front there, just driving, and literally, I saw him come out
through him.
He sort of shuddered that hard. It was almost like a shadow of Wayne was still in the seat where he'd moved. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, must apologise to Wayne for that. But yeah, we did have an absolute blast. It's a beautiful location. It's a beautiful site. And I can't wait to get back down there. So yeah, so credit to Kilo 42 and for all the work they've done. and keep us posted. And
They've
hopefully
got a
the
nice
three of
range
us.
as well, haven't they?
It's mate, it's a stunning setup. It's a really, really nice location. It's all big Scotch pine. It's literally all pine trees, and it's in the middle of this pine woodland, and it's just it's stunning. You could almost think cross me Canada. It's really, really beautiful.
Wow.
So yeah, hopefully we can get a team down there for a bit of a session in the weeks.
Yeah, I'm gutted I couldn't make it. I was really looking forward to the idea of going, and then it just
I think it's probably only
clashed.
half an hour from you, Mike, because it's 25 minutes from me towards you. So I'm thinking, you know,
which I mean, ultimately,
about 9 hours away, but
for a full day of doing bits and bobs with your team and stuff like that, it's a cracking opportunity. You obviously want to make sure you use it. Like, don't rock up and then just spend like 3 hours having a natter and then
that's it.
For an hour and then disappear. Like it's a bit pants at that front, but
it is good. But what they have done,
it sounds like a cracking.
Mate, it's really good because what they've also done is there's a couple of different main entrances into the kill house, so you haven't got to just constantly go through. Oh, you're going to breach this front door and then you're inside. There's a couple more doors that they keep bolted and locked. Which could be brought into play, so you can actually right now this is now your main entrance. You're going to breach into here. This room's now the sort of the entrance foyer, if you like, as opposed to being used to that side. So it's very, very modular, and you're able to change the dynamic of how you enter and exit the building and the routes around it. I mean, the amount of times we initially went in there and we just sort of like did right. There's a door in front of us. We're breached out. Next door's in front of us. We're breached out. And me, Danny, and Wayne just sort of did it in a trio all the way around the perimeter edge, sort of worked our way in, sort of like a bit of a zigzag. And then we came out and we said, right, we went through that door last time, let's breach this way and that way. And every time we did it, it felt like we was in a different building. It was really, really peculiar, but it's the way they've done it's really good. There's some real pinch point areas in there. There's some of them have got double doors that have been purposefully like held ajar like that and fixed in place. So you have to get round them. There's that little corner you've got to check that. It can be quite difficult and a bit cumbersome, but it's there to test you. And it was, like I said, Danny and Wayne haven't done a great deal of the CQB stuff. I've done a couple of JBG courses now and bits and bobs we've done over at the private site. So it was really good to get them guys out there and seeing them doing it. And actually, Wayne and Danny said that absolute buzz, really want to do like a JBG event now and get all the team together and do one. So everyone was buzzing. It was such a great day. It was really, really good. Nice, easy, chilled.
Because it's outside. Have they got lighting and everything in there so you can keep running it? So you could do sort of night drills and things, or
that was, like I said, it's the main structure's all there, doors are all on, so it can be used now. This is all like sort of the secondary thing, like they could put some lighting in, things like that. They're going to do some covered sections so it goes dark.
And Andy's thinking of it like, oh no, this is something competing with Blackstone.
No, it's the other end of the country for that. Pretty much opposite side of London, so it's quite handy.
At the end of the day, it's like what Tony said last week, literally, we just need to look after new sites like this.
Absolutely, yeah,
and help out new companies and stuff, because without people like this, the sport and the hobby is just going to die away. I all more for them.
Yeah, absolutely. No, they're like I said, they're a great bunch of guys as well, and it's really exciting because it's such a new place. And to see what they're going to be doing and what they were talking about doing. The actual site owner came up. So basically, it's on the location where the guy currently does a lot of archery, does a lot of air rifle shooting. He does like Nerf wars for kids' parties and stuff like that, which is all very separate from here. But it's a very cool setup, and it's such a beautiful location. But it's sort of like his finance in this build that Kilo 42 are doing. And he's very keen on it. I believe he's ex-army, so he's all over the old looking to get some sort of low decibel pyro, things like that. I sort of steered him towards Defiant to maybe get in contact with them and have a little chat, because I know they've been sort of like trailblazing that sort of thing for their events, which is really, really cool. And yeah, he's planning on doing night ops, so you can do sort of like nod training in there in the dark, this, that, and the other. So it's very cool. It's very cool.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of scope there, and there's a lot of potential, and there's an awful lot of ideas that are going to be rolling out over the next months. So yeah, very exciting. And it's 20 minutes from my house, so it's even fucking better.
I mean, the thing with obviously sort of CQB training is, and all sorts of training really, you see this across airsoft sites as a whole. If you play a site regularly enough, you're losing the advantage of learning how to adapt to new places. I mean, like Andy, you obviously know Blackstone CQB you literally built the thing, so you obviously know it off the back of your hand.
Yeah.
So if you were to go there, you're going to have a different approach to it than if you were thrown into a completely new scenario, which is the whole premise of the whole CQB training. Because when we play MilSim style events and everything like that, ultimately places like Longmoor and places like that, you're obviously going to be in similar situations that you've been in before. But if you get the opportunity to do an event in, say, I don't know, using it as an example, say II 500 at a like this really weird and wonderful building complex. They got a huge block of flats, ignoring the event organization as a whole, but the ability to play in like this big block of flats, for example, that's going to give you a whole new terrain and new scenario to play in. And that's where your skills that you obviously kind of practice with your team and you kind of build it. It's almost like learning to paint. You don't paint the same picture every time. You obviously learn the techniques of painting so that you can apply those to a different painting every time that you paint.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and being able to have like you said, when like being able to make it modular is massive for CQB.
It is. It's got to be.
If you build a fixed site, in my opinion, you're going to run out. You're going to run out of ideas, and people will get bored. But if you throw in a few doors, a few walls that can be moved, you're always going to have a different experience every time you go. So having that modularity is a brilliant idea.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we were invited along purely to beta test it as like just like a group of guys just to go along, just to sort of not so much rip it apart or anything like that, but just go through and say, well, maybe you could do this, maybe you could add that. Yeah. What are your plans for this and this? And it was quality. It was like a really good brainstorming session at the end of the day for sort of like 15-20 minutes, feedback and discussions on costings and you know, what would you pay for this and for that amount of time and that you know, and that's how this has all come about. So it was really, really good. And it was really cool for an organizer or event planner or whatever you might be, to actually reach out to the public who are going to be using the site and say, look, can you come down, put it through its paces, tell us what you think, you know, is there something shit that you don't like, is there something good, is there something missing that could be added in, and they were like literally like an open book. So it was really, really refreshing to be able to go down there and just sort of chew the fat with them. So yeah, no, I'm really excited to go back. Can't wait. It's gonna be good. Credit to Kilo42. Good on you. Look them up on Instagram. Kilo42. It's a red K42 black background. Yeah. Very cool.
I was watching a load of kids running around the mirror maze on Facebook because they were just running into it and it's just funny. And I was thinking, oh my God, how much fun would it be to do an airsoft CQB event in a mirror maze?
I don't know if my mind would be able to handle that.
because you've not only got the route that you have to take, you have to be careful of. You're also shooting. If you're shooting at mirrors, like it's all bouncing around and
well, if putting your laser on, you'd just be like, oh my fucking God.
A bit of news from Daniel Guest. He's flagged this up. Also, can you give the news that Invicta Woodland is closing in July, but moving its Woodland site to Yalding? So that is news.
That's news. Our other man in the field, Daniel Guest.
Yalding is in Kent. It is a place that notoriously has... I know it for flooding because I live in Kent. It's sort of quite river... local
heavy
river heavy. So
the water in Yalding.
Bit heavy on the old rivers in Yalding. No, cool stuff. Happy days.
Right, so the other kind of bit of news that we've got is that we have been talking the last few weeks about the MilSim Index. I finally got into the Hotmail account and managed to get that to work. So we now have the ability to introduce this. So this is how you can get to it through the main website. So there's a big tab on the top. If you're on the mobile website, it's not the clearest, but there is a button on the homepage of that as well. And this will lead you to
on my mobile phone,
Foxtrot.
And it was really clear. It was really good.
Oh, cool. So it takes you to novemberfoxtrot.co.uk/MilSim Index. And this is our international MilSim Index. So the idea of this is to basically allow people to work out as a rough guideline as to how your MilSim is. Okay, we've talked about this for a number of years now. You know, there are so many different interpretations of MilSim, battle sim, film sim, you know, day sim, night sim, all of these different sims of things. And the idea is that it's all great and it's all well and good, but it's very hard to gauge for new players or even existing players or experienced players what the event that you're going to is going to contain. So the idea is that this is a point index-based approach that as you go through, so for example, section 1 talked about player living conditions, you can tick it off and say, right, the risk of camp being bumped, and the relocation of camp required to preserve security. So we click that. That then allocates that a point scoring system. And you can basically work through the sheet. So I'll just tick some at random, takes you through. There's a few different sections in there. I'll skip through those. Get to the end, and then it gives you a score summary. And this is broken down into player living conditions, players' faction organization, the event expectations and taskings, and then the gameplay and game mechanics. So this is not, and I really want to stress this is not telling you if the event is good or bad, right? You could have an index score on this, which is a 10. It could just be a short day event. It's just a force on force type thing. You're operating out your car. It could still be an absolute cracking event. Please don't take this as being a score of how good the event is, because it's not. What this is doing is it's ascertaining out of a maximum score of, say, 68 being what we perceive, and hopefully episodes 213, we've kind of now got to a point where we've got a rough gauge as to how many things you need in a MilSim. We've done an awful lot of MilSim. We've talked to a lot of MilSimmers.
1,000 batteries.
many coffee sachets. Yeah, and must have torches. Yeah, because
must have torches.
Because MilSim
in every.
It's out. It's out of 68 at the moment. I might change this to a percentage rather than a score, because I really don't want people to get confused and think that it's out of 68 it's only like a 14. It's not a very good event type thing, because it's not to do with that at all. But if you are interested in using this is available as both an online form that you can just fill in and it does all the maths for you, or you can go to our Intel section, which very quickly loads based on my internet. And then in our Intel section,
you can stuff on your computer, Mike. Remember that.
Yeah. In our Intel section, you can download it. We have the MilSim Index 1.0 PDF in our download section. So if you're interested, then please feel free to use that. We're hopefully going to be using that to gauge events that we go to going forwards, to give an idea of the MilSim Index. We hope that event organisers and players will use this to basically kind of share and work out, ultimately, instead of someone going, oh yeah, it's a really good MilSim, it's really hardcore. Well, that doesn't mean anything, because there's no gauge of that.
That's their personal opinion, isn't it, as to what they perceive as being like an easy weekend MilSim or a hardcore, event sort of thing where you balls to the wall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we know players that are obviously ex-army, current army, Navy and Air, and RAF, etc. Potentially, there's players. I don't know for a fact. I'm just guessing, but potentially there's people out there that are, potentially ex-SAS that have played airsoft. Their version of what is a hardcore MilSim is going to be very different to, little Timmy who's 16 or 18 going to his first MilSim event. He's done a lot of airsoft, but never done a MilSim before. So this is to try and give a kind of a universal gauge on that front. So please feel free to go and use it. Give it a go. If you've got any comments on it, let us know. There's sections in there to kind of highlight how you can get in touch with us. Screenshot if there's problems or anything like that. Just let us know. We can develop this, and hopefully this becomes something people can use going forward.
But not now. Wait until after.
But no, now. Yeah, wait until afterwards.
Now? No. Now.
We have wisdom to dispense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Many wisdoms.
So that's that. Unless you've got any news, Andy, I think that's the end of the news.
Only really another reminder of if you have an airsoft gun, don't walk around with it in the street. Just it's popped up too many times recently. Just don't.
I was actually watching an episode of Police Interceptors last night before I went to work, and they pulled a car over. Female police officer on her own pulled this car over, got these guys, 2 guys out, I think it was, and he had a tan and black Glock down the side of the front seat because he's fucking cool. For a start, first and foremost, very very cool thing to do. Jokes, of course, he's a knob. But yeah, airsoft replica or a CO2 BB gun on the top of the roof there when she took it out. Obviously, when first glance, you're going to see the carry handle of a pistol sticking up from the side of the seat. You're going to sort of pretty much shit your pants, aren't you? So don't do things like that because it's stupid.
Keep it locked away.
It's very stupid, and someone you could encounter may actually have the real version of it, and then you are proper fucked.
I mean, if you're going to walk, I mean, if you're going to walk down the street carrying a riff,
yeah,
I guarantee you are going to bump into someone that has a real one.
Exactly, yeah. And normally they're in black with unmarked police cars, and they're tooled up to the hilt and will take no prisoners.
And if they think you're really serious, they'll turn up in grey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. With dogs.
Yeah, then you know that you're in shit.
Yeah, so don't do it. Keep them in the gun bags, keep them in a gun safe, keep them locked down until you get to the place you're doing airsoft, and then you can have at it.
Yeah.
But don't do it.
But it does happen with seasoned people as well. Like,
unfortunately, mate, there are those people out there that will always do it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But there we go.
Right, let's move on to some positive
stuff now.
Let's go.
Yes.
Pew, 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 pew.
End of news. So last episode.
You need to add a. And you heard it here first from back in the studio with the weird woman. You need the weird woman to do something at the end.
Sorry to interrupt, but we can now go live to our man.
Wait, how weird it gets. Oh, no, play it, because I want to hear the weirdness.
No, we'll play it afterwards, because I'm conscious of the time. Episode 211, we started off on our part 1 of our 2-part episode on things to consider as a team leader.
Which the Gordon missed.
I know. Probably one of the most experienced. In terms of TL, I would say.
Yeah, because I avoid it like the plague.
I have somehow signed myself up to be 2IC for Tomahawk.
I heard about this, yes.
Yeah, I heard.
So you're going to be Kevin's bitch for the weekend?
No, apparently not. Apparently I am under somebody else. How
do you feel about
I have to admit, a little bit nervous because I have never been in a... I mean, it's not a proper TL because obviously you're the 2IC, but I've never been in a position with that many people under me, if that makes sense. Not from an airsoft perspective anyway, so it'd be very interesting.
Your life a living fucking hell.
Are you coming?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What team are you on? You on Tomahawk?
No, I haven't booked yet.
Well, you're not going then because it's fully booked.
Yeah.
Bean arse.
I'm sure there's going to be
There he is. Late again.
Is this the one that's happening next?
Yeah, it's the one on the 10th.
Oh, no.
10th of May.
Okay.
On the 11th of May is the Chatham Military Affair as well, if anyone's interested. I'm going to be going to that again.
You got a free pass that weekend. Where's Anna in Spain for a week or something?
No, so the Chatham Military Affair, because it starts at like 7 in the morning, I can get there, get breakfast and get back, and I'll probably be back at like 9:30, like 9 o'clock, 9:30 at the latest, which is cracking. So.
Not if we turn up.
No, it does slow my shopping down. Right, let's start. I think we got to around 17 on the list. So this is coordinating fire and movement. So as a TL, you need to make use of things like bounding, overwatch, suppressive fire, and buddy teams to push or pull back tactically. This keeps your team safe and maintains pressure on the enemy. How many times have we all seen a TL that, effectively freezes? You've got a team of, say, 15 people, don't know what they're doing at that point. There's no coordination going on. Everyone just gets bedded down or fractured off into like little sub-skirmishes and things like that. It's just an absolute nightmare.
Yes.
So it's very important that you are coordinating that and utilise your 2ICs and things as well. You've obviously got your ROs, depending on the event, you've got like an RO, a medic, etc., etc. So delegate. One of the things that we talked about last time is delegation is key.
Yeah. And also from a team leader's perspective, being aware of other sections that are in the area that could probably, potentially offer suppressive fire and things like that for you to move if you are getting sort of a little bit overwhelmed. It's just a cool. It's a nightmare being TL and RO. I've done that many times.
Oh, it's so hard, isn't it?
Yeah, many fucking headache tablets needed. And it's the only time I ever pray for my radio to run out of battery.
And it normally.
Oh well, never mind.
I hate being TL, not TL, RO anyway, just because you've got potentially like the zero voice coming through, you've got your team voice coming through, and then you've got people shouting at you, and you're like, hang on a second, hang on, mate.
Yeah. Adults talking. I didn't mind it. I for a while I didn't mind having the RO and TL because it was almost like, right, okay, I need the guys to do this. Can you tell? Hang on, I just did myself. Can you guys go over there? I'm just going to cut out the monkey and the words coming straight from the organ grinder now.
Yeah. Oh, it is a challenge.
It is, but it's a good challenge. It's good to challenge yourself. It is good to try it. Absolutely.
Yeah. But this does lead nicely on to 18, which is also stay coordinated in contact. So this isn't necessarily it's going to massively depend on how many people you've got in your team and making sure, again, to delegate, but keep track of your team members in a firefight. Don't let someone get cut off or overwhelmed. Now, Lance, we talked last time just briefly about FTLs, which is a fire team leader. Mm-hmm. Because obviously in Airsoft, you don't generally have lieutenants, lieutenants, whatever, sergeants, captains, etc. like that. You tend to just have
generals. Yeah,
varying grades of TL, don't you? You've got like your command structure, your CO, and then below that is just, well, I'm the team TL, I'm this TL, and then I'm this little team TL, and then I'm this tiny team's TL down the bottom.
Yeah.
And often I get told I'm just my own TL. Just look after yourself.
Yeah.
Just look after you, and everything else will just fall into place.
Yeah, I normally just get given a ball and told to sit in the corner.
But normally, like typically, if you've got like an 8-man section, it'd be like the main TL would be Charlie Fire Team Leader, and then your 2IC would be the Delta Fire Team Leader, and that's quite simple. It's as simple as that. You delegate, they'd know that before you went out on the patrol. You'd know your fire teams if the shit hit the fan.
I just didn't want you to start shouting at us if we started talking about FTLs, because that's where that's come from.
I like it. I'm not going to use it, but I like it.
That's fine. Use FTLs to keep accountability. Now, there was an anecdote that came with this one, which is one team left their LMG in the open during a peel back. He was hit and they lost fire superiority. I'm going to throw this to Andy, because Andy's not a fan of the term fire superiority within Airsoft. But it's interesting.
Fire superiority.
But we had a bit of a debate on this, didn't we? In terms of if you're at a real cap event or something like that, then an LMG does come into its own a little bit.
Not if you take
in terms
it out.
of
job done.
Well, not if you take it out. No, obviously.
I don't know about fire superiority.
It's almost saying that superiority. It's just it's how coordinated you are, and like we're all pretty much on the same sort of leveling field. Like if you went up against say a section of 5 LMGs and you've got 4 pistols, then there is going to be some fire superiority. But all AEGs and all gas blowbacks are roughly the same FPS, roughly getting the same sort of distance. You don't really get, in my opinion, a true fire superiority within Airsoft. The only time that would ever really count is if you massively overwhelm one section.
But that's not necessarily just with an LMG, is it? That's the whole section overwhelming another section.
Yeah, it's more about the bodies. It's not fire superiority in the way that we would normally think of, where you've got 6 tally going up against a whole armored convoy. That's what
it's for me. An LMG is very much suppressive.
Yeah,
a single LMG gunner should be able to suppress 3 rifles.
Yeah, but not for
location. Not for long. But he could do the job of 3 other riflemen suppressing that section for a time being for a fire team to peel off. Which is normally why you keep your LMGs on the flanks.
I mean, as an LMG gunner, I think if I purely do that role for the whole weekend, it's very rare that I actually get like any sort of kills or hits, because it's the whole point of me in that situation is to lock down an area.
And your shit as well.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that he's not. He knows I'm joking.
Yeah, I know.
I don't get any kills because I'm shit.
Yeah.
I'm shit. I'm really shit.
Yeah. I need those rounds.
I think with the concept of fire superiority, you're only really going to achieve that if you're in a real mag situation. If you're going as real cap, then that is going to make a difference to an extent. Now, arguably, a lot of the real cap LMGs we know are kind of limited around sort of 100 to 200 round belt fed before you got to reload anyway. I know that there are certain events like Defiance which are obviously changing those rules, and I don't know what the latest rules are on that. So I might be wrong on that. I don't know if they've got a higher capacity or what, but I think there is an element of that. I think it does come into play is things like mortars, HVTs.
Yes. Mortars.
And I don't mean the HVT being fire superiority, but obviously if you've got a HVT in the field, you need to make sure you don't leave them behind, because I have seen that done a number of times. Yeah. People storm into a situation or a compound or anything like that to obtain intel. I've seen that get left behind before. People.
That is where you have an objective, everyone's heading towards it, and then there's another section, and they've got a bit of a firefight, and you can just about hear it.
Ooh, let's go there.
And you turn around, and you're like, "I've lost 5 guys."
Yeah, they're all like fucking bugs to a light at night, and they're like, "Ooh."
They literally go off and
go,
noises.
Yeah.
Like, no, over here.
Yeah.
No. Focus, stay focused.
Come with me, cats. Come on.
Just jingle your keys in front of them as you're walking along.
You need like a little cuddly toy with some catnip spray on it.
You just keep the laser pen on at that point, don't you? The laser on your rifle, right? Everyone follow the dot.
Very odd.
Right, next we have track ammo and equipment status. So use downtime or load movement phases to quickly check or quietly check that players aren't running dry. Get FTLs to rotate shooters if needed. I think this comes into not just ammo, but obviously making sure that people are bombed up. In firefights, again, the number of times I personally have seen people get to the firefight, they fire the first shot and then their mag's out. So they forget to reload and things like that.
That's the thing I've always. That's one thing I've always found a little bit frustrating with some events and some rulings about like your round count out in the field and what you can carry in this, that, and the other. Where you can you've got 8 mid-cap mags or 6 mid-cap mags or something like that. And if you've got into a blistering firefight over a few hours, like we've had a couple of encounters where we've been defending the sand fob, for example, and you've got a QRF in ammo, and it's like you would have the ability to rebomb in the field. You're not just going to carry, unless it's a small light patrol that you're doing, perhaps. But if you're on an extended patrol and you know you're going to be out there for a while, you would take an additional bandolier or two for the LMG, for yourselves. Do you know what I mean? Things like that. So I personally, I think there should be the ability to rebomb in the field out of your own kit. Obviously not taking the piss, because no one's running like 400 round high cap magazines, and if they blister their way through them, you think one high cap mag is the equivalent to like 4.5, 5 mid caps. Do you know what I mean? It's literally, and one guy who's running real steel, 32 round mags or whatever they might be, that's his entire quota of bullets in your one high cap magazine. So yeah, I think if you're doing a real cap event, the ability to rebomb in the field is crucial. And as a TL and a 2IC, it's when the contact's broken and you have got that downtime, you can get some guys stood to get half the section to rebomb, check pouches, everything's done up, check water, replenish where you need to, and then switch out. That's key. Going into it. I mean, real steel event, ultimately, you would be swapping magazines between people to rebalance your resources anyway. Yeah, there's no point having someone that's been at the rear of a contact having all the ammo and just sitting there on 20 mags. Thank God we've all got MWSs now, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. In all honesty, that does actually help. And mag compatibility is very, very handy on that front, because
definitely.
If you've got a team of people, got one guy running a P90, one's running an MWS, one of them's running an AEG M4, one's running an AK. Like all those different magazines, it's completely useless to swap amongst.
But you may well find that in the sort of like the infancy of a team getting together, you probably will encounter that, because you're a group of guys who've sort of found each other at an event or a skirmish day, come together. You've all got different platforms and this, that, and the other, so you are going to have that for a while until you can all sort of agree on, oh yeah, well, MWS is rocking it, let's just get one each, blah blah blah. Then we're all sort of like tuned in with that. I mean, I think we've all pretty much got an MWS now, I think, bar a couple.
Yeah, I've only got one mag at the moment. I'm still working on that.
Yeah, but I mean, between all of us, we must have 100 MWS mags.
I just go out with my one mag, rack through 30 rounds, and they're like, guys, I'm out. Who's got a spare mag?
Well, don't worry, because we've got your birthday and Christmas, so you'll get a magazine for each of them from me. So there you go.
That's very kind of you.
It's my pleasure.
Right, so we talked about that now. Controlling
not a real
points.
not a magazine, like a magazine about MWS is like like a.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah.
So you can read and find where the actual mags are.
Like 40, build a mag in like 40 parts. You get like the spring in the first one. You get it's the new Guns Modify magazine. You get one magazine.
Absolutely.
Literal airsoft magazine after every 40 episodes of the magazine that you buy from them. And each magazine costs 30 quid. You're right, Andy.
What did you do whilst off camera?
Literally, because the missus has gone out, the dog was now barking to go out to the loo, but he didn't want to go out to the loo. He wanted to bark at next door's dog, so then I ended up having to chase him around the garden to get him back in.
Haha, brilliant.
And then I come back and you're talking about buying magazines. No.
Don't worry. I'll
watch that bit back later.
Yeah, watch that bit back. It's very exciting.
Okay, number 20, controlling respawns and rally points. So this is something that is really simple to do. So if someone goes down, they need to know where to rejoin the team. So you can use map references, RVs, or fallback points. If the team relocates from whatever you are at, make sure your 2RC or RO updates the dead players via comms or runners. Now, this is not contravening Dead Men Don't Talk, okay? We don't do that. Dead Men Don't Talk is a very important rule in Airsoft, and it's shit when you've got somebody that's hit out going, and having a little natter with someone, like, just fuck off, you're dead.
Yeah,
right?
no way.
You've been shot.
Wounded men, however, I don't like that rule in where if you're hit.
Fine.
Yeah, but you should be able to scream and shout and tell them where you've been hit from. But some places I've been to, it's like if you're hit, you're silent until you're back. It's like, no, it doesn't make any sense to me. Sorry.
No.
I'm not dead. I'm wounded. So I'm going to tell my dudes where the guys are so they don't get hurt.
Yeah.
Like me.
And the problem...
if you're wounded and you're rolling around screaming on the floor, and it's part
of
that role play experience, then
But we're not talking about that though.
We're talking dead.
We're talking what we're talking about is you've been hit out, right? You need to rally with your team. So you're probably on your way back to a respawn zone at some point, and you might be going, where are we meeting up? Right? Where do I meet you afterwards? Have that established in advance, because for starters, that looks like dead men are talking.
Yeah.
So
which technically they are, although it's not affecting the game. You are 50 meters away. You can just see a dude yakking into his bowman or whatever it might be.
Even pointing, they'll be like, are we going over there? Or is that over there? Or where are we going? And
plus the fact your guys might still be hidden, and if you're chatting away going, oh, Mike, and Mike's in the long grass going, Lance, you fuck off. They don't know I'm here. Fuck off.
Yeah,
you died, Lance. Yeah. You died.
Mike's going, Lance, stand up.
I've had it before, but I've been really concealed, right? And I've been laying up, like getting some rounds down at that. And there's a dead guy coming past, and like literally just stops, like, "Oh, how you getting on, mate? You enjoying yourself?" And I'm like, "I really was. I was really having a good time then until this dead guy stood next to me, like literally, the ends of his boots were next to my shoulder while I'm laying prone, and he's, "Are you okay down there? Are you having a nice time?" No, you're probably a lovely guy, but fuck off.
Yeah, I personally, I'm a big advocate of not having elongated respawn times. I would be more attuned to 15 minutes bleed out times of the field. Right, so if you get shot out, you've got 15 minutes of sitting there, because the problem is that people respawn. So you know full well if you've got eyes on somebody, you take someone out. As soon as that person comes back out again, they know exactly where you are. Unless you move, they are going to know exactly where you are. You don't know what communication they're having. So if they've got a 15-minute timer where they are stuck static on the ground, they can't talk to anybody else. You know, there is no...
I agree. That's a really good idea. I like that. I'd rather stay out on the ground and be a fixture and fitting of the firefight, dead body on the floor, it always looks very cool for photos, for 10, 15 minutes. And then once that's done, and if the firefight's then collapsed or they've moved off, you can just trotter off to your respawn point, respawn, straight back in. Rather than this whole... quarter of the way through the firefight, you're hit out, go back 15 minutes, and you come back to the arse end of the firefight, potentially assist in winning that fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that. That's really good.
Yeah. But the whole premise is ultimately when you are going into combat airsoft, establish where your RBs are going to be. Sorry, I got
just to make sure everyone's aware.
We are not talking real world. Make sure you know where your respawns are going to be.
you don't get respawns.
I just respawned. It's fine.
Just respawned. You can't shoot me. I'm going back to respawn. Fuck's sake. How are you enjoying yourself? You enjoying your days? Good.
but consider rally points. Consider your fallback points. So a really good example of this is the National Airsoft Festival. So there are respawn zones around the game zone there. So whenever we were moving between respawn zones, i.e., we kind of use those as marker points. We go, right, okay, we're now in a new position. This is now our fallback position, and we're going to head to there. So, everyone knows what's going on. Everyone knows where to go. So you don't end up with just random clusters of people going, I don't know where the hell my team's gone. I'm just on my Todd now. Your team becomes fractured. No one knows what's going on. But Andy, I think this was your shout in terms of you can use your RO to obviously radio out to say, right, okay, the team's assaulted location A. We've successfully done that. We've got a number of people that hit out. We're now going to go to location B. Use your RO to radio across the team there, going, we're now moving to location B. We're now attacking location B. Just every couple of minutes, just to make sure that if anyone is listening, they can come back in and they're aware of what's going on.
Yeah,
which is a really cracking idea.
Yeah, because the dead players, they don't have to reply. You're literally you're just putting information out over the airwaves, as it were.
It's like a Ouija board.
Yeah,
airwaves. I want to listen to more Andy's airwaves.
But it works really well because if you've, again, you need to have that pre-plan.
Well, that's it. I mean, that'd be from a TL's perspective. Going out when you're going out on a patrol, you would designate RV points along your route of march to your objective, whatever it might be. Now we're talking airsoft areas, so it's not going to be 1 kilometre from the fucking objective because it's probably 1 kilometre is probably half the site in some cases. Do you know what I mean? But at a certain point or fixture, you can sort of denote that this is a RV or an ERV or whatever it might be. So anyone, like we've said earlier, gets hit 15 minutes and then they go back to respawn, they know, well, I can go back to this RV location, meet up with my team, or if it denotes in the game rules that you've got to go back to a actual specific respawn, I can go back there and come back to this RV point and hopefully my team will RV with me here. It's just basic simple stuff, and it's quite a safety thing as well, especially if it's a new site you don't know of. It's quite vast. Having those RV locations, if you do get lost, your comms are down, sit tight there, and then your team at some point will come back. To that point, you'd like to think, unless they hate your guts, and then they just fucking leave you there.
But also as well, be mindful of if you're going out, if you've respawned, going out on your own, you are a massive disadvantage. So sometimes it is worth waiting for, like if you've got to go and respawn, and you know that in a couple of minutes, another couple of people from your section are going to be respawning, wait for them.
Yeah,
at least then.
At least two. At least have another guy with you. At least, do you know what I mean? So it's like the same going into an objective. If you find that your medic's been hit out, or your support gunner's been hit out, or something, or your radio op's been hit out, as a TL, it's making that decision. Right, have I got the manpower and the logistics with me in my section now to complete this objective, or do I have to wait 10 minutes, go and find an LUP, wait till everyone's back together, and then we push on it? Then you need to be able to make that decision on the spot. So right, I've lost my medic, I've lost my support gunner. I'm not going to be able to take this objective without those guys, because obviously I need them, so that it'll be pulled back, lay up, wait for them to re-engage, and go forward again. So those are decisions like that as a team that you have to make, not just go blazing through. Oh yeah, they'll be respawning in a minute, and thinking, got into a firefight, oh shit, we haven't got our medics, he's respawning. You need to think about those things, who you've lost and who you can afford to lose, before you go and do something.
I mean, the other aspect of having a small group of you heading back out again is, again, comms. Comms are an absolute nightmare. Everyone, we talked about this in the last show, but everyone's got different radios, aerials, headsets, PTTs, things like that. You will find that you will have a massive, and I'm going to use this as a force multiplier, if you've got 3 people on the comms who can pick up signals and potentially you are much more likely to get into communication with the rest of your team than you will if you are out on your own. Because unless you've got a cracking aerial on your radio and everything like that, and it's all working tickety-boo, there's a very high chance that you could be out of signal you'll never find them. If you're not picking up that RO frequency, if the teams had to move shift location to whatever reason, they've been given new orders, they're now assaulting building C when originally you were at building A, you'll never find them. So that's another way of obviously managing your ability to reorganize with your team again. Call Sign Samurai also brings up ATAC. I mean, ATAC's another one as well. You can update the information in there. We haven't really kind of covered ATAC too much because for the most part, the three of us don't have loads of experience with it, from my understanding.
No,
I think we've all used it a couple of times, but
I've used it once.
Yeah,
and it didn't work because no one updated anything on it.
So I know that. I mean, I'm fortunately it's now payday, so I'm hoping to get a couple of Meshtastic devices with GPS and stuff. We can start playing around with that. Because I think that's possibly the way that Airsoft is going to suddenly go, because Meshtastic is such a cheap device that you can, integrate with ATAC and everything like that, and it gives you the ability to start tracking your teammates. And if you've got lots of these things on the field, you could have an entire Blue 4 team that's got this integrated mesh, so everything's talking to each other and bouncing it across the whole site. Whereas obviously, if you've only got a small team, it's a little bit more limited. But
well, I mean, do you remember back in the days of APOC's MilSims, Mike, when you had Big John and the signals guys?
The GPS radio, yeah.
Every team leader for the event, so say we were task force, even the Op 4, all task force team leaders and the OC were all issued with a GPS Motorola radio for emergency comms. Between like the event organizer, OC, and team leaders, and that's all it was for, just purely for emergency comms. You weren't to use it for everyday chatting for your team. But it was to be. It wasn't
all it was for, because I know full well they were running the event off of that. They were going, right, I've got a team here.
That's what I was getting to.
Let's tell them there's something here, and then we'll have an assault.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. So not only could they keep a tab on where each team leader was, and you'd like to think all his section were with him, but they could also then coordinate sort of firefights as and when. So you can say, right, we're a bit heavy with teams over here, so we can get them moving. We know where the Op 4 are over there, and they can sort of like chess pieces on a board, and it did work really, really well. It was really good. It's like an early version of the Nestastic stuff that's coming out now.
I remember when it all first started, it was carrier pigeons.
Oh, back in the day.
Andy, you want to be careful. You were trying to lose the pigeon lady name.
Yeah.
That's back. He can't lose it. He can't lose it. He loves it. He secretly loves it.
Right, so the next one, we've talked about controlling respawns and rally points and the like, sharing intel with adjacent units. So this is important for, what you were saying, Lance, obviously being aware of what other units, where they are, what their taskings are, etc. But sharing intel with adjacent units will massively help the coordination across the field. So your RO should regularly push sit reps and threat data to neighbouring squads or command. Even info like, an enemy patrol moving north at grid 342, it will potentially win a fight that you're not even in. If you've got eyes on something going on over there, the people over there can deal with it. You don't have to run over there and deal with it. But you've called it in, and that information is now there and actionable.
Especially if you're laid up, sort of thing. You do like you just say. Then you see an enemy patrol moving through. They're going from north to east or whatever it might be, and you know full well that you've got a friendly patrol over in that area. Then if they can get the drop on it, you've got a perfect snap ambush there. So like, guys, you've got an 8-man section coming your way. They're going to be on you in sort of 2 or 3 minutes at the pace they're going. They're this heavy, this many rifles, blah, 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 blah. Snap ambush, that's that other section there has got the perfect opportunity then to get laid up, wait for them to come through, and just blast them to smithereens.
Or so if you know really that cool. You're doing if you're having a big big movement, as it were.
Yes.
if you see a section that, and you know that they've pulled off, like they're going off, say to the east, and you know that squad's going to hit them from behind. You've given them the warning to be able to obviously counteract that push from the opposite team.
Yeah, exactly that.
At the end of the day, you're all on the same team. Like although you're in sections.
I mean, if if you've got a friendly section on one side of a building complex sort of thing, and you're on the other, and you see an enemy force exfil out the back of it, you can say to them, we've just had, if they know full well that there's 10 guys in that building, and you've just seen 6 roll out the back that they can't see because they're not in their line of sight, you can get on to them and say, look, you just had 6 tangos exit the rear of the building, potentially only 4 in there now, and if they're heavy, then it gives them a better opportunity then to go and take it in, see a bit of CQB action, and have at it. But yeah, all about sharing, awareness. of the AO and Tings. There you go. Cool science. Battle space awareness is key. Pretty much.
Definitely.
Just said it better than I did.
Now,
I
with
hate
sit
not
reps,
having control. I can't do anything.
Hey, what?
with sit reps,
I've been
Is he
kicked
frozen?
out. I don't have admin privilege.
no, for some reason, it's booted Andy out. I'm nothing to do with it. He's done it on his own. I don't know why.
Thanks to the mic.
How did that happen?
I didn't kick him
Let's
out
go
at
to our
all.
man in the field to find out. Oh.
Sorry to interrupt, but we can now go live.
So with sit reps, we obviously talked last week about salute. So salute is size, so that's how many. Activity, are they moving north? Location, so where are they? Don't obviously just say there's a couple of guys moving ahead of me in the trees, because that doesn't mean anything to anyone on the radio.
Yep.
Unit IDs. Time is very important for obviously giving information. If you said to command, half an hour ago I saw some people moving past, that intel probably not much use anymore.
Yes.
That's
Like what
important.
the guard guys did to me with James. Sorry, James, about
Yes.
that. But an hour after I'd literally passed them, they gave you a call. I was on my way back home at that point. Well done. Longmore security.
Winning!
Guys.
And then E on salute is for equipment, so that's the sort of capability. So again, if you see classic scenario, Longmore, one of the Legion events, I think it was now, where we captured the mortar team, sort of called that in first, worked out what was going on, captured that information, and then gave that as a sit rep back. So size, activity, location, unit, time, and equipment. Or salute. Next up, we've got on return to base. So we've we've been out in the field. We've kind of now got to a point where we can kind of sit down for a little bit. It might not be a fob. It could be an LUP or something
Tea and
like
medals time.
But it's now time to basically rest for a little bit. But that's not it. That doesn't mean that you stop. So
No.
I call this a shit sandwich. There's a number of ways of describing it, but always conduct a debrief. And the way I generally tend to run debriefs is a 3-point format. So you use a good thing, an improvement point, and a good thing. So you want to keep it focused, and you want to let your team speak first as well. So highlight, it says professional wins here and reinforce learning points. Professional wins is not so much like, oh yes, we've done an excellent cracking job. What that's talking about is like, right, we did this really well. We didn't balls this up. The manoeuvring here was really great. We obviously left 2 section out on their own for 20 minutes, which probably wasn't a good idea. But we managed to get the intel. Yeah. But that shit sandwich is really important and it's hard to do sometimes, because sometimes you've got a thick shit sandwich. Sometimes the bread on that sandwich is very thin in terms of good things, and sometimes the
almost cracker-like.
More like a wrap at this point.
But it is important because ultimately, you're there as a team. It's meant to be fun. People don't like being shouted at, but it is important to keep that kind of repertoire up, because what went well, what didn't go well. It's important because that's how people learn.
But
and
it keeps that momentum.
It
keeps that momentum within the team through the event, throughout the weekend. You know what I mean? They need that sort of that. Everyone needs a bit of everyone loves a bit of reassurance and this, that, and the other. Do you know what I mean? That they're doing good and stuff. So
everyone likes.
And people like to. Yeah, but people like to win. This is the thing, and open it up to the whole team. Don't just have you standing there dictating things out, going, "Oh, well, we should have done this," and it was shit, and you're all shit, and I'm shit, you're shit, we're all shit.
We're all shit. What a shit! This is shit. Everything's shit. I'm going.
But open it up to the team. Ask them what went well, what didn't go well. There'll be things that the people. If someone comes back really frustrated, get them to talk, because they're going to give you some information. Make sure people don't shy away. If you've got someone that's sitting there quiet, ask them, get them to, just if you've got any thoughts on what we did well, what didn't go well, etc. It doesn't have to be you spouting crap to people, because ultimately you could have pissed people off. You could have done a really shit job out there, and you need to be the first one to go, yeah, you know what, fair enough. I was,
sorry lads,
I played that really badly. Yeah.
I mean, that's fair enough on the briefing perspective. I mean, for me, as soon as I get back from a patrol, being within sort of like the first 10 minutes of the section being back in the harbour area or the fob, whatever it be, mags will be rebombed.
No, we'll come on to that in a second.
Taking some water on, getting their mags rebombed, and then I'd hit briefings. But that's the first thing I would do is get the admin bit out of the way, and then IC brief, and then section brief. Yeah.
See, you're right. To be fair, I've probably got it the other way around on that front, but I just figured that while it's fresh in everyone's minds, it's quite a good opportunity to go, right, okay, this is what we're doing, and then you roll on to 23, which is bomb up before you chill out. So don't let your players slump into chairs before they've refilled water, topped up mags and pyro, charged or swapped batteries, and eaten something.
Yeah.
Discipline now means readiness later, and I really liked that as kind of a little.
For sure, yeah. The only reason I've done it before is that I've had it before where we've come.
You've run out of time, and then the battle comes in.
Well, this is it. You've come back from patrol within 2 or 3 minutes of being back. Your harbour area gets hit, and no one's bombed up. No one's fucking ready. Everyone's just slung their belt kits on the floor and just like, we're not ready. You need to. So as soon as you get back in, grab a quick glug of water, bomb all your mags up, refill your water bottles, get your belt pouches and that all done up, zipped up tight, this, that, and the other. Then you can worry about having some grub whilst you're having a chat or a debrief. And then if you do get hit, you're fully kitted, ready to go again. You're not fucking caught with your pants down as such. Do you know what I mean? That's what I would say for a return into your FOB or your.
See, I've had it where you go, right, cool, go get your scarf, water, or whatever. I've had people go and get their heads down straight away. You're like, oh, fuck's sake. Well, now we can't really do a briefing. So I always try and do it first, because that way, when people are having time, that's their own time. I'm not going to affect that.
When you'd get back, though, I mean, obviously, you'd as the TL, the TL and the 2IC, you'd go straight into the OC anyhow, or for that, and let them know how that your patrol's back in. This is what's happened. Blah 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 blah. Give a bit of a conflab. So in that sort of 5-6 minute briefing you're having with OC, the rest of the section can be getting some water, bombing their mags up. So when you get back to them to brief them, excuse me, they should all be kitted up, ready to go. You can be bombing up whilst you're talking to them.
Yeah,
that's very, very important. Yeah. Water and bullets, baby.
I know it worked well with when you and I did the DEA one, Andy. Because you were 2IC for that one. Yeah. So I think I was doing the debriefs with James, because it was a Defiant event. And you were kind of getting everyone. That's right, James.
Love you, James. Love you, James. I've got Crocs. You can't shout at me. I've got Crocs.
Yeah.
with charms. I've got charms on.
But it's just a good opportunity to obviously, again, use that delegation.
Yeah, it worked really well doing it that way. Because while you were doing the brief with James,
just wanted to start singing Elevation then by you too, but singing Delegation rather than Elevation. Sorry, my mind disappeared for a second.
Also, it was quite good because the lads that we were with had the same sort of mindset. Whereas we literally watched other sections that weekend just come in, and they just literally just went straight to their beds. There was no bombing up. There was no nothing. And then their section of the defence got hit, and we had to send guys over to help them while they were sorting themselves out. So that it does massively, like, if you are prepared, you also need to be ready to take on someone else that isn't prepared. You need to take over their spot. So yeah, literally always. The way I do it is I literally, on the one time that I did it, I brought them back, got everyone to drink some water, and then literally bombed up because it was quite a hot weekend. So water was the more priority over everything else. And then literally they just sat down and had the debrief.
Yeah. There's an incentive there as well, though, because ultimately, you know, if you leave all these little jobs that you got to do, you know, it's the same with you get your Bergen out and just your Bergen fucking explodes everywhere. Get it all back in, because again, you know where everything is, and it makes your life easier. So the more organised that you can be, the less challenging it is when you've had 2 hours of sleep, you're cold, you're shivering, you wake up, you're like, right, I need my drink. I made that earlier. Perfect. I've got a hot drink there ready to go for me, because past Mike looked after future Mike.
It's simple,
I don't have
mate.
to
It's
sit
really
there
simple.
fiddling about in the cold reloading my mags, like, because you've done all of that. You can just kind of focus on warming up and just, you're all ready to go, but you can just get your body ready to go.
I mean, Mike, how many times have we encountered it when we've done like some of the Gladius events where even some of the guys in our sections, we won't obviously won't mention any names or anything, but you get your head down for 2 or 3 hours, and then you're going out on a night patrol, but then they're not ready. And they're woken up, they're a bit bleary-eyed. It's, I've got to bomb them back. Oh, fucking hell. They've got the ump because they know they've got to bomb their mags up and they've done this. If you spend half an hour, I know it's eating into half an hour of your downtime where you can go and get some kit, but you're never ever going to leave to do your patrol at the time they say you're going to do patrol. There's going to be delays. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. But if you know that you can wake up, chuck your boots on, you've made yourself a nice hot brew in your Stanley Cup or in your thermos or whatever it might be. Right, I haven't got to make myself a brew because I've already got one done. My mags have all bombed up before I got my head down. All my kit's squared away, ready to go. All my pouches are done up, this, that, and the other. Do you know what I mean? You've literally got to wake up, roll out your fart sack, put your boots on, chuck your belt kit on, grab your riff, and you're good to go. You've got a hot drink there. Even if you're a smoker, make yourself a couple of roll-ups before you go to bed. You can wake up, bosh, I am golden. And then you've got 10, 15 minutes of sitting there because you know damn well there's a couple of prats have not done it. So you're going to be waiting for them. But you can sit there and relax. You can get your head in the game. You can properly wake up. And you're good to go. It's doing those little admin jobs, which sound like they're fucking tedious and that and this, that, and the other, but it helps you out massively in the long run.
Massively.
The one thing
Don't put it off.
The one thing I quite like doing, and this was told to me at a Legion event by someone who was a lot more experienced at the time than me, and they literally. They said keep 2 mags in your Bergen. Have I frozen?
No.
Oh, I think Mike's frozen.
Mike.
dead?
Both your screens are frozen. No, you're back.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Alfie Barrow, good evening.
Yeah. He literally said always leave 2 mags back at camp. So when you come back, you've always got 2 mags sitting there and you throw them in. And then while you're bombing up your other mags, you know for a fact that when you come back, you've got 2 literally sat there ready to go.
2 good to go. So you can sort of reload. At least you've got
you've got a little bit of one. Yeah, a bit of a buffer. And most of the time you only end up using, unless you've been in like a proper good firefight, you're probably only going to use 2 or 3 mags. So that's the way I've started to do it. So I've bought a couple of extra mags that I always leave back at camp.
Yeah.
So I come back, take the ones out that I've used, put those ones in, so I know that I've got at least something on me just in case something happens.
It makes a massive difference. Just being a little bit prepared and organised and thinking about, right, I don't just need stuff when I'm out in the field shooty. Just getting yourself organised and making sure stuff's tidy and neat and packed away and everything's got a place and it goes back in that place once it's done. It just speeds you up. And
it's good practice. It's good practice. It really, really is.
The worst thing is if you've got someone like if you're quite tight, especially like in places like Longmoor, where you have got quite a tight sleeping arrangement. If you've literally gone in and gone right, tipped out your Bergen. The person at the far end's got to climb over all of your shit that you've left out lying everywhere.
You should have been at that fucking first Machiavellian event in the fucking bramble bush of us before then. Then you really will know what it's like climbing over people.
Yeah, but that's the worst thing, like, isn't it? Like, because you're now worried that you're going to tread on something that's not yours, break something that's not yours.
You're the leave your torch behind.
But you're in a rush because you want to get out.
All 9 of them.
Yeah.
I meant the one you stuck to the bunk.
Don't talk about my O-light. My one and only. Actually, no, that's a lie. I do have another O-light, but it's very, very small, and it's on the keyring on my car keys. So I won't be losing that, hopefully. You bastard, Mike. I do have this O-light. Hang on. Bear with. There it is. Never leave home without it. Thank you, Rage, for your tip on buying that O-light. It is the is that a candle? Yeah, it's the 3T EOS. Highly recommend that on Amazon. Get yourself one. They are absolute pucker. Great.
Hashtag not a sponsor.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right. The last three are things which we kind of threw in as extras, I think, on this front. It was a kind of they don't really fit into the general kind of pre-patrol, on patrol, coming back from patrol. They're kind of more generic things. But number 24 was don't cluster your defense. Okay, and by this we mean if you're defending a key location, spread the fuck out. Use outer OPs or decoys. The enemy will expect you to sit in the objective, so surprise them by hitting them on their route to the location. Don't push your OPs too far out that they can't be supported by the main team if required. Obviously, you want to try and maintain lines of communication, ideally lines of sight if you can.
Just a quick caveat on the OPs. And if you are about to get hit by a force, remember to pull your OPs in.
Yeah.
Don't just fucking leave them out there to get take the first wave.
Well, to be fair, or leave if they're bedded in. It can't hurt to have a couple guys potentially sitting there and then outflank the enemy.
Yeah.
Could be overlapping arcs of fire. Very, very important.
But also defense, you should always have at least one fallback. So you say you've got
one Alamo,
which is my mic. You're not going to have 15 guys sitting on my mic, are you? You're going to have them spread
You'll be
out.
lucky, love.
Yeah. Ooh.
I know I know. Ooh, indeed. Yeah, the missus has definitely gone out for the evening.
Yeah, but you're going to want to be able to break down that defense, and then your literal Alamo will be that what your objective actually is. The amount of times that I've attacked an objective and gone, well, they're right on it, so all I need to do is just shoot them out. Like there's no.
Our Alamo be a blaze of glory, Andy. Just be me and you injured with one grenade between us, like old like Vasquez and Gorman in Aliens, where they're in the duct in the air duct, just like. Oh.
Mike, you've muted yourself. Yeah, see.
all you can see is.
Just the angry waves.
Mike's gone. Mike's tech has gone off the grid.
Mike's gone.
Is he back?
I'm back. There we go.
There he is.
What I was going to say is it was very visible at the last the battle sim we did at APOC. So for those that know Apocalypse Airsoft in Kent, down in Sittingbourne, cracking site, massive hill on the entrance. Got to get your cardio in there to get on.
Steps in.
Yeah. But the stockade there is a really good defensive position. You've got trenches, you've got barricades, there's gantries, there's turrets. You've got all sorts of positions that you can secure from. But there's a great gaping woodland, and I mean now there's obviously a bit of a no man's land. Yeah, now there's less of a woodland, but you've got this great kind of no man's land, almost like Vietnam. Where they kind of cleared out all the woodland in advance of the forts and stuff.
Napalm. Yeah.
And then you've got the tree block, but there was no one in the tree block, so all we were doing is waiting for people to basically come get close enough, and then they can start popping shots straight at the stockade from the hard cover of the trees.
Mm.
Literally, at one point, I got a bit fucked off with it, so I was like, right, I'm going to set up my own little OP just outside, and I would just wait and sat there, and I clocked two of the ghillied snipers who were trying to sneak in around the back, and a team of three that were also sort of trying to follow up as well. And all it did, literally just sat there. I had line of sight to the fob. I could get back there in 2 minutes if I needed to, but I stopped that assault from hitting that stockade single-handedly.
You're a fucking hero, man.
Oh, man.
Man.
God damn it. God damn it.
Oh.
You don't want to be hemmed in. You want to spread your defense out a little bit. Kind of, yeah. A bigger defensive line means that you're not concentrating all your forces in one little thing, and they're all going to get stuck, and you can get outflanked. Because that's the biggest problem in airsoft is flanking. I think it's too easy just to get one person just sneak round the back, come up, and you can take about 4 or 5 players out before people even realise what's going on, because people get so ingrained in
that comes with
forward.
Especially in a team situation where you've been established for a good while, you sort of know each other, this, that, and the other, and you're regularly practicing getting into that, contact right. You bust into your 2 fire teams, 2 IC takes Delta, TL takes Charlie, and then you can sort of shift and move then as well. You know what I mean? And then you can start introducing. When it's quite difficult to do what you're saying when it's like 3 guys are put
No,
with
you
2
can't have little
guys
groups,
and then
'cause
2 guys.
it's-
But do you know what I mean? Like it's like multiple small teams making up an 8-man section or a 12-man section or a platoon or whatever it might be. Do you know what I mean? It's difficult to sort of gel in the hour that you've had a safety brief before you go out on the ground. Do you know what I mean? Unless they're quite seasoned and they've done it all before, and you can just sort of fall into that routine sort of thing and establish the 2 IC.
But we felt we were sucker for it as well. I mean, there was a prime example where we assaulted the village from the direction of the enemy spawn. Well, cool. We got into the village, cleared the first half, and then suddenly got hit from behind because we hadn't got any rear cover at all. We were again just focusing on our front assault.
Well, we did
ignoring the
they
fact
just
we were
weren't there.
completely outflanked. Well, yeah.
I specifically left 3 people in the rear guard, but when I got hit, they were in the village, and I was like, that's not the rear. That's way in front of everyone.
And the other thing as well is obviously if you do have an OP, have 2 people on an OP, because again, with the medic buddy system, how medicing generally works in airsoft, there's an advantage to having someone there that can just grab you, pull you back into a little foxhole or divot or whatever you want to, or a deflade, as Andy says, medic up, and then you can get back on the game again.
I mean, the only to that is when you're wearing, like, if you've got a designated sniper who's in a ghillie suit and things like that, and can set themselves up, and that they're not going to be found. If they've got decent comms, if they are literally just your eyes,
if you've got them just as Overwatch, but if there's still a risk of them getting hit and they're 30 meters out from your 30 meters might be a bit close. Talk about 60 meters to 100 meters away from your location.
Yeah.
And the enemy swoop in, they kill your sniper. There's no way you're going to get to them quickly.
No, you're also then a gun down, aren't you, for your actual main potential objective that you're supposed to be holding for however long it might be, or waiting for a friendly team to come in, but you're now under heavy fire and you're already gunned down and you've not even been shot at yet. It's all things to weigh up, isn't it? I mean, if you do put an OP out or a sniper, like Andy said, a sniper out, they need to have an exfil to get back to you. Now, whether they have to dogleg right round to come back into you, but they need to have that exfil location, and you need to be confident that they're not going to get cut off from you.
Or shot by their own team.
That's
another thing.
Which is always disappointing.
Yeah. Which we covered, I think, in episode 1, didn't we? About return signs and things like that.
Challenges and being aware of where other friendly sections are as well.
Yeah.
Just being aware of what you're doing as an airsoft game as well, because so many people are like, I'm playing airsoft, there's movement, and we'll come on to this, it'll make sense in a second. No, we're getting there though.
But the other thing is, if you've got an OP,
the tree moves, stand to get the entire section
out there. If they call in, we've got movement going past us, from experience, don't mortar them because you know where they are. right? That doesn't work.
Just start shouting on the radio, danger close, danger close. Yeah. No, danger close. Abort the mortar.
when you've got 3 mortars behind you and they've dialed in your location for the OP, right? And then you go, right, we've got movement like 5 meters out, and they're moving towards.
Yeah, I heard danger close. That's fine. He said danger close. Go.
Yeah, and then they go, okay, we'll set the incoming mortars, and you're like, but you've zeroed in on me, and I'm still here.
Don't shoot me. Wait for me.
Yeah.
Oh no, it'll be fine. The wind will carry it. It was my reply that I got, and I died. I was like, great. Cheers, guys.
So this comes down to this kind of falls into fire discipline. So hold your fire until you can actually get confirmed kills. So don't light up bushes at the first rustle. Fire only when you're confident of a hit. It conserves ammo, it keeps your position secret, and it lets you time ambushes effectively. Absolutely. If you fire ineffectively, it will give your opponent more chance to react and relocate around you. You guys weren't at this raid last year. I don't think you guys went, did you?
No, I haven't done a raid event yet.
No, so we were at Driftfield. It was myself and the Praetorians. We were in a situation where we were clearing a building, and then another team, a friendly team, moved into the building. And we're all being sneaky, and we can see the enemy. They're sort of patrolling around outside. So we're like, right, cool. We'll hang back. We'll let them pass, and then we can progress through because they now think that area is clear. We can progress through and clear the buildings. They just fucking, enemy, light them up. And they're just literally firing. They're completely out of range. They're not going to get the hits. And all I've done is now alert them to the fact that we're there, and we all got wiped out because the enemy were like, well, that building's occupied. Let's go clear that building.
Yeah, exactly. And be very mindful of...
You don't have to shoot.
Yeah, that's quite a good caveat, actually, because that leads nicely on to make sure you're very clear on movement spotted before you shout stand to.
Yeah.
Because the amount of times there's...
Eyes on.
Somebody's eyes on, or movement spotted. Report spotted. That's fine.
Yeah. But contact and stand to are all different things.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people have it integrated into them just to shout stand to.
Yeah.
That's not very helpful at 3 o'clock in the morning when everyone's trying to get some shut eye and you've heard something and going, stand to. And everyone's up. Like, why were you stood to? Because I heard a thing over there.
We did get the joy of you standing on a picnic bench with a LMG just in.
Oh, yeah, but that's a genuine stand to. We were getting hit, so I don't mind that. That's good. It's when you stood to and everyone's up and like, why are we stood to?
Like that, just holding this LMG going, right, I'm ready.
Ready, boots on, safety glasses on, underpants on.
That was it. That's all he needed.
That's it.
I mean,
good to go.
With a well-defended position, so we'll use, was it dog tag we were at?
Yes.
Yeah, so with that location, we had 3 entrances into the fob, because I think one of them had just been completely sealed off. So there was the main gate, there was the one just to the right, and there was the one from the firing range.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So the rest of that is walls. They're not going to get in. So ultimately, you don't need to stand anyone to until there's an actual physical contact. You might have eyes on. You might have got potential something going on over there, but there is no reason to wake everyone up because people can get up quick enough. If they're being shot at, they will wake up quick enough, grab a rifle and join in the fight.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way in was actually through the side entrance where the range was, because the door, the main gate was shut all the time.
Yeah. And plus the fact the section that were guarding that side were mostly asleep most of the time anyhow, because they only had they only got 9 hours sleep, I think, for one of their I've only had 9 hours sleep.
One of them literally said something along the lines of only had 6 or 7 hours sleep. They're like, you're absolutely kidding me.
Yeah. Are you taking the fucking piss?
More than us by about 5 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So learn the terminology and just there are situations where, don't get me wrong, suppressive fire is really, really effective. Ineffective fire is not. If you can't get the range on them, there is no point trying to blap someone 200 meters away with a pistol that's only got the range of 50 meters. Why? What are you trying to achieve?
Why would you do these things?
Yeah.
Yes. That was Big Tony. Hello, Tony, all right, mate.
Oh, Tony?
Welcome.
Tony. You right?
We actually didn't say who was listening this evening, Mike. We didn't do that.
No.
We didn't do our virtual audience.
Oh, sorry. We have our virtual audience in this evening. We had November 52, Daniel, Call Sign Samurai, Kenny, Marky Mark, James King, Danny Plain, Abby Ratley, Blackbeard, Call Sign Samurai, Les Plain, Lanav Challenge. He's back. Just finished last week's episode. Daniel Brewer, Daniel Guest, Norman. I don't know who Norman is.
Hello, Norm.
Andrew Taylor. So yeah, most people, and Tony and Alfie Barrow. So there we go.
Welcome.
Right, the last one on the TL list.
Goodbye, because we're going to be finishing in a few.
Yeah, it literally feels like we just started again now.
The last one on the TL list is read the room. Okay, and now I don't know how popular this is going to be with game organisers, and I'm putting to you two criticising me for this one.
Ooh,
so
controversial.
This is to do with game of management. Okay, so some events have scripted outcomes or gameplay engineering that can affect your realism. If you sense enemy teams are getting fed info or events are being steered, you adjust your routes and tactics, protect your team's experience and morale by staying adaptive. Now, what I mean by this is there are some events which do have scripted things, and I'm not suggesting rock up to an event and just fuck up their storyline, ruin everything, because that's shit. If the event organizer has spent a lot of time putting something together, roll with that. However, as an event organizer, please bear this in mind. It is demoralizing when you tell your TL or CO, right, we're going to go out and we're going to do a patrol around here, and you immediately hear them jump on the road and go, other teams, CO, just to let you know, there's a patrol coming around this side. Okay, that's fine. I'll send some guys out to assault them. Why? What's the fucking point in that?
Well, that has achieved nothing.
Yeah, I'm not here to play cannon fodder for other people. You know, I want to be doing a bit of sneaky, and it is crap, and it affects team morale. It's probably one of the biggest things that affects team morale because people don't feel like they can trust their command structure. But there are things like, for example, the DEA event that we did, Lance, where we ended up with most of the drugs and the money, and that was perfectly within the remit of the game. We weren't told specifically that we had to trust the local police.
Nope.
So we worked out that they were being a bit corrupt, so we kept everything from them.
Kept it for our own evidences.
Yeah. But there's other situations where I think just read the room a little bit and you can roll with it. There are certain things that you can do. Think outside the box. Don't just get suckered into, go and hold this location for 30 minutes. Like, well, I know they're going to come and assault me there then. Like, that's...
Yeah, I know.
You
can almost see it coming. You think, I literally know what's coming. What's coming, yeah.
Whereas I think when there's a bit more surprise and there's a little bit more dynamicness to an event, I like that personally. And I'm open to hear your two thoughts and if you've got any specific experiences.
Yeah. I mean, doing it blatantly in front of someone after they've come up and said, "Oh, I'm just going to send my lads out on a patrol," or "We're going to go out on a patrol," and then before you've even turned around, they're on the radio, like telling the opposite force that this is happening. I can understand why they might have to do it sometimes. But
I get that they've got to do it.
Just wait a few minutes.
Yeah,
wait until
I get some things have got to be sort of engineered, if you like. But there needs to be a fair fight. It needs to be if the outcome is flipped and our section win the day, then that should be fed into the story or whatever happens next. It can't just be they're going to go out. There's going to be a massively superior force that's going to go up against you and wipe you out because that's got to happen. That's a bit crap.
Yeah,
there needs to be that level playing field of fair enough if it's one 8-man section against 2 enemy sections, and that's just the way it goes, and that's fair enough. But I mean, there's got to be that fairness there to it. It can't just be completely structured and scripted because that would just be pointless. You might as well just have like 12-round boxing match where right round 1 is this, right next round 2 is this going on now, then round 3. That just. It's not fluid enough for me. I like it to sort of flow, and I like things to be surprises and something like we did it. What was it, Gladius 5, where we stumbled across that 81mm mortar position, which was setting up to hit the fob, and we sort of put a stop to that, arrested them, confiscated the mortar tube, took it back. Big Mike laughed his fucking tits off at his mate for getting caught. Don't think he ever lived it down, but there we go. So things like that happening, and it changes the story and it makes it more fun.
Yeah,
so.
I think that's down to the organisers being able to work with the flow.
Like Stephen Whitehead's just put there, might as well be doing a reenactment otherwise, which is very much the case because the outcome's going to be and you're happy with that. But when you do a MilSim event, you don't know what the outcome's going to be, and that's why all the teams try as hard as they can to sort of win the day. Try and be better than each other, try and outwit the other teams, be more tactical.
I think there are, I'm not going to name names, but there are some events companies, and they are quite well known, that are very scripted. And it might surprise you as to which ones I would name, and it's probably a conversation for off stream, but there are certain things that obviously you get told to go and do something, you're like, right, well, this doesn't make any sense as to why you're telling me to do that, because that's not within the remit of what we've been told previously. It doesn't follow on from any existing storyline or narrative that we've been working to date. It's just weird. And I get that you obviously, but I get you obviously need to orchestrate some element of combat because obviously that's the point in airsoft. It's not just running around and being nice to each other.
Orchestrate the coming together, but the outcome shouldn't be orchestrated. The outcome is the outcome. I get that they've got to get people in positions to things to happen, but what the outcome is of that coming together, that shouldn't be scripted. I don't think. I
think some organisers generally have an idea, and I've been to a couple of events which haven't been great, but you can tell that the organisers already know that they're in their heads. They've already got an idea of who's going to win that weekend.
Massively so.
Which and
I
then
can
you
think
kind
of
of
one
go,
specific one that happened within the last 6 months
yeah.
that we attended.
But that, to me, that ruins it. Like, and when you can tell that, that's the worst part. If an organizer has said in their head that DA are going to win this weekend, no matter, and you're playing up for, no matter what you do, unless you start screwing around with and not listening to zeros or your leaders' instructions and start doing your own thing.
Do you know what? I'm going to be controversial here. I don't think you should be able to win a MilSim. I don't think a good MilSim has a winner or loser, because ultimately, if you look at a force on force, both sides think they're the good guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why should the event be scripted or kind of given as a right? You've won, you've lost. The only way it will be is like, you've gained ground here, you gained ground there. But, you've obviously done these objectives and taskings. You've gone and captured some HVTs. And that might roll into like a debrief storyline at the end of it, which is more pertinent. You've got this kind of ongoing storyline and it all feeds into each other, which is something Octo do really well. I know that there was one particular one that, due to some hijinks, messed up the ending from what I think they were anticipating. But I think generally it's not scripted too much per se.
No. I mean, I've never really thought of a MilSim as who's won it, or that's sort of like furthest from my mind at the end of the weekend. Like for a Mil, I've always considered that a win for me is if like our teams enjoyed themselves, everyone's had a blast, everyone's come out of their buzzing, and we've had some right cool Gucci moments. Regardless of like the overall organisers put points on the board. Oh well, X got that and Y got that. That's sort of like furthest from my mind. I don't really. I couldn't give a shit really about whether there's points involved or anything. As long as we've had a really good weekend and we've enjoyed it.
You want to feel like you're doing something.
Yeah.
So your taskings are meaningful. So it's not like, I'm the DEA, I'm just going to go and hold this location to blow it up, because that's not DEA.
DEA don't do that.
No.
I mean,
but if I'm out investigating drugs and crimes and like I've got to go and like take down some cartel, yeah, that's cool. I don't care if I win the event at the end of the weekend.
No, but if I've enjoyed myself, my team's enjoyed myself, everyone's had a cracking weekend, we've achieved some objectives, this, that, and the other, and there's not been too many cock-ups from our side of things, then yeah, I class that as a personal win within our section of the task force that we happen to be on. Now, whether the other 3 or 4 8-man sections within task force or Op 4 have had as much luck or not, then that's down to them. But I can't make the outcome for them any better or worse than what they do for themselves. I can only worry about my guys and my experience. Do you know what I mean? And that's not taken away. Not saying I'm just doing what I want to do.
You get there, Andy.
To the detriment of other people. I'm doing it within the remit of what we've been asked to do and making sure that we've enjoyed it and had good fun doing it at the same time and done it properly. That's what I class as a win for a team for a MilSim, regardless of the points.
Done.
Yeah, I think so. Did you want to speak then?
Yeah,
you didn't put your hand up.
I mean, for me, as long as I forget the real world for a couple of hours.
Oh, Andy! I just want to lose the crippling pain.
Yeah. As long as I haven't got Mike breathing down my neck.
As long as you have or you haven't.
Haven't.
In the dark.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, points and stuff, like, some people like really care about it, but I think within the MilSim kind of community, I generally think people literally just go to have a bit of fun, don't they? And I think I think most groups don't, as long as they can get their personal taskings and stuff done and they have fun doing it.
Exactly.
That most players don't really care about what's happening.
I mean, say for example,
I think it's
our team gets.
Mindset.
Yeah, I mean, say for example, our team gets 5 objectives over a course of a weekend and we achieve 3 of them. I would call that a win.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Above average, completed 3 out of the 5. And that's how I look. Literally, that's how I look at it. And like Paul Samurai, it's a game just to have fun, and that's it. As long as we've had fun, you've enjoyed it, done it safely, not to the detriment of other people's enjoyment, like taking things away from them, but you've done it within your tasking of what you've been asked to do for that event, and you've achieved that. Fucking winning all day long.
Yeah.
Smiles, cups of tea, medals, hugs and kisses.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's it. That's basically the end of our kind of TL considerations. If you think that we have missed anything, please feel free to get in touch. You can email us at our email at nofochat@hotmail.com. Our Instagram is at November_Foxtrot_NoFo, and the website is novemberfoxtrot.co.uk.
Okay.
Where we've been compiling this into a bit of a document, so the idea is that we will upload that to the website as well. And there'll be a page on things to consider as a TL. There'll be a download that you can have on top of that, and then sort of links to the episodes where we've been discussing them. So if you think that we have missed something categorical, please let us know, and then we can include that and make sure it's all kind of up to date.
Yeah. I think we said about making this like a bit of a mini series as well, didn't we? So
yeah, so sort of talking about like
ROs.
recon, sniping,
Yeah.
I guess LMGs, but they're not a force multiplier, so
Still a roll, isn't it?
yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, we're going to be sort of talking across the board. I mean, we've already done one on medics, haven't we? I think.
I think
I
so.
thought we did one on medics a while ago.
Yeah, we have TL medics. We've done support gunner, bits and bobs. I'm sure we have.
Yeah. So next week, if you want to join us, we'll be back Wednesday at 8 p.m. In the meantime, is there anything that we've missed, guys, that we need to chat about?
I don't think so.
No.
Jesus.
Talk about Jesus.
Would you like the closing words, Lance?
Speak to you about Jesus.
If you would like me to do the closing words,
Yes.
I'll do the closing words. Do you want to do it now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Are we done?
now.
Are we done? Yeah, well, just echoing Andy's thing. Don't go out in public with airsoft rifles or pistols because it makes you look
We're
a twat
sorry
and
to
you get in a lot of
interrupt,
trouble.
We can now go live. to
Oh,
our man in the field.
Why do it halfway through the speaking?
I pushed the button earlier and then it didn't start quick enough. I'm sorry.
Enjoy airsoft, enjoy MilSim, don't be a dick. And
Don't
that's it.
invite Mike.
Don't invite Mike with his button machine.
His button.
Fucking blokes and menace.
Oh man, I clicked that and I was like waiting for it to start, and then you got into it and I felt bad and I was like, oh. Hey-ho.
Welcome back,
boys
Ron.
with their toys, Andy. Boys with their toys.
Join us next week, Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Say goodbye,
What are we
guys.
doing next week?
So I don't know at the moment. That's why I was skipping over it.
Q&A.
No, I've reached out. No, I've reached out to Phil down under in the
Hi,
hope that
Phil.
we might have to get him on because we're due for a guest next week. So
We're going to be talking Philsoft next week.
yeah. And if I don't see you beforehand and you are attending the Battle Sim next weekend, not this coming weekend, then I shall see you there.
Wonderful.
Right, say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys. Ciao, Bella. Stay
See you
no
later.
phone.
Woo.
My casa, your casa, and all that shit.
Bitches.
The casa.
Yeah. Mike's sitting there.
Oh no!
Yeah, he did it again. He is so fucking rude, man. You are
Click the
so
button and it takes a
rude.
second. I'm waiting for you to stop talking so I
Oh
can tick
my
it.
god. Just rude.
All right, I'm clicking it.
Fucking-
1, 2,
just
3,
fucking-
go.
Do you realise we can just keep talking? Don't mute me, Mike. Don't mute me.